Theological Pipe.
I've been expecting you.
There is a God, and
I speak German.
I'm talking.
All right, welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. I'm going to do this while I'm watching the fourth quarter of the Oklahoma State Baylor football game. Of course, the Cowboys are at it again, where they just have to make the game close. 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions by Spencer Sanders. It's 17-14. The Cowboys are winning in the fourth quarter. Baylor just scored to make it 17-14. Cowboys got the ball now. There's about, I think, 12 minutes left in the game. So while I'm going to be watching it, so I'm probably going to react as I'm talking about what I'm going to talk about. I want to do a short one, just something different. I've talked about sports the past couple times, and again, thank God for sports. And I think it's a gift and everything. But there was a report that came out today in the Tulsa World about the city of Tulsa. And it said that the city of Tulsa is now a majority-minority city. And at first glance, like, that's pretty cool. I mean, diversity is a good thing, right? We like when there's a lot of different people around and different things. So what the report means is that for the first time, Tulsa has more minorities in it than quote unquote white people. And that frustrates me. I don't like the way that we divide people based on characteristics. I think it leads to problems. And it has historically. If you just know your history, you know that it has. And again, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that there's diversity. I'm all for it as long as it's diversity across the board. So diversity of race and sex and even ideologies and the way people think and that kind of stuff, diversity of thought. And unfortunately, these days, the diversity is we're all for diversity as long as you're diverse like me. And you think like me, and you act like me, and you have the same politics as me, and you have the same religion as me. And if you don't, well, then we don't really like diversity anymore. We want to cancel you because you don't have the right thoughts. And I mean, you see that now with if a Democratic senator doesn't vote the way that other Democrats do, well, they're sellouts and traitors. But if a Republican votes against the Republicans, well, he's a maverick. And you can look up that on your own. I don't want to get into that too much. But again, Tulsa is a majority-minority city, again, which is a good thing. Diversity of all kinds is good. And in fact, I celebrate the diversity of the individual over the diversity of a certain group. Again, I think that's an issue when we start saying that that's what's important. Your membership in a group, sex, race, politics, whatever it is, religion. I think that's a danger. And here's the funny part. So if Tulsa is now a majority-minority city where minorities are now the majority, well, now the minority is no longer the minority, they're the majority. So the majority is now the minority, and the minority is now the majority. So are we going to now start switching things to have policies that help uplift the minority who once a few days ago was the majority, and now they're the minority? And you can see how crazy it gets sometimes. So again, I think it's cool. I'm for diversity. I've always said I think it would be such a boring world if all we did was hung out with people who looked like us, who acted like us, who thought like us, who had the same beliefs as us. We grow, we learn, we stretch ourselves when we come into conflict with people about differences. And as long as we do it with love and grace and mercy, I think that's a good thing. And so that's kind of where I was thinking about this. Again, I think it's cool, but then again, because of the way we are these days with all these different ideologies and stuff, if the majority is now the minority then is now the majority, and the majority is the minority. So your head explodes. How about we just celebrate people for who they are, for their individuality, for where they came from who they are, from what they think. And we have diversity of race and diversity of sex and diversity of opinions and diversity of thought. We need to make sure that we hold true to those things. Free speech is really important. And again, the problem with free speech today is it is sort of under attack, because if you don't have the right thoughts, the right ideas, we're going to cancel you, and that's a dangerous thing. And so while I celebrate the diversity of Tulsa, and I love Tulsa, it's a great place, and it's a great place to live. I live in Broken Arrow, which is a suburb of Tulsa. Tulsa's a great place. Oklahoma's a great place. Is it exciting? Not necessarily. I mean, but it's cool, and it's a great place with great people. But I just think as we celebrate this, we need to just think about it for a second and say, where is it leading to? And maybe think twice before we start saying that the most important thing about someone is their identity and their group identity and how they think and how they look. And we celebrate the person for who they are, whether they're white or black or male or female or young or old or Republican or Democrat or Christian or atheist or Muslim or Jewish or who cares? How about we celebrate the fact that every single person in every single group who has different opinions, who has different, upbringings, who has different opinions on things, every single one of them was created in the image of God, the Imago Dei. I've talked about that before. That's what we celebrate. I do think there is one group identity that we all share, and I've talked about this before, is that we're all sinners in need of grace. And we need grace from God. That's why he sent Jesus Christ. And we need to have grace with our brothers and sisters and our neighbors. And the Bible talks about your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? And I'll break it down for you really simply. Your neighbor is anybody. It's anybody but you. The Bible is really clear that we are supposed to share with each other. We are supposed to love each other. We are supposed to look out for each other. We are supposed to be happy when people are happy. We're supposed to be sad when people are sad. And we are supposed to help our neighbors when they're in need. And we're supposed to pray for our enemies. And we're supposed to help our enemies. We're supposed to turn the other cheek. We're not supposed to seek vengeance. So if you want to know as either a believer or just someone, how am I supposed to treat people who are different than me? How am I supposed to treat people who are my neighbors? How am I supposed to treat people who are my enemies? With love, with grace, with mercy. You treat everybody with respect and love and mercy. Let God handle the big stuff. The Bible says, God says, vengeance is mine. Let him handle the heavy lifting. Your job is just to celebrate people for who they are and love them. So, that's my thing. And of course, Oklahoma State just fumbled the ball. It's third down, and going to be 3rd down and 5. They recovered. 10 minutes left. They're about almost close to almost to 50-yard line, whatever. So, again, Cardiac Cowboys I'm watching the game while I'm talking. Again, I just think let's just celebrate diversity, but again, diversity for everybody. And in the end, realize that there is a God and he is in control. So let's see what happens here. Not going to get there. So we're going to have to punt the ball, it looks like. So I'm going to go watch the rest of the game. Cardiac Cowboys at it again. I'll probably do another theological sports podcast here in a few days about what went on in the Big 12 today. So watch the game. But again, celebrate that Tulsa is a majority-minority city, but also understand what that means and maybe look at it quite a little bit differently. So put that in your theological pipe and smoke it, and we'll see you next time.
Well, bye.